I realized reading through my blog post for this topic that I have to update it. My opinion surrounding shadow work hasn't changed, but my original post was much more passionate and intense than it need be for where I'm at now. While I think that shadow work is of utmost importance to healing, I also think you can space it out and take your time with it, more than my very freshly sobered self. I came out of treatment and hit the ground running. This is the type of person that I am in literally every single aspect of my life, though. I'm very impatient, and at that time my entire inner self was so volatile, new, unknown, zero filter. It's sort of embarrassing looking back, but what helps me when I think of that time is to remember that it is so very normal to be that way when you first get sober. So anyway, shadow work. The stuff that people talk about like it's spooky, witchcraft, it actually isn't. It's just inner work. And I say just, but it's some of the hardest stuff you'll probably ever do. This is why my opinion on it now and how much you throw yourself off the deep end into it immediately has lessened a little bit. So if you go to a counseling appointment and it's really a lot to handle, don't force yourself to book another one for the following week. Unless you want to, I don't know, do your thing. If you kind of dread going, even though you like what it's doing for you when you're alone with your thoughts, it's working and you're doing it right. I came across a podcast that Steve-O had done about addiction when I was in my first year of recovery, and something he said really stood out, enough that I've never forgotten it. He said, "I never suffered from alcoholism until I stopped drinking." In the beginning, we tend to get really caught up in the substance itself and our usage of it as the problem. Toxic, poison, family destroying, life ruining, sure. Yeah, all of that is true, but the fact remains the same. Drinking or using is only a symptom of the disease. The disease of addiction itself stems from so many other things. There's always a bottom line. There's always a reasoning for why anyone gets addicted to anything, and it's not their fault. Circumstance led them there, but the decision to continue is a strong one. Unfortunately, sometimes it also feels like it's the only one. The rub here is that you have to be willing to face those things, to find them and heal them, or your journey to sobriety will be an even more difficult one. You may still find it, but you will never find inner peace. You'll be what people in AA refer to as a dry drunk, which really just means you're sober and totally miserable, both about being sober and about life in general. That's not fun. To remove the substance that provided an escape and then do nothing about your misery except to wallow in it, it's no way to live, to be sure, and sadly I have lost so many friends in recovery to suicide. Such is a common theme for many of us, and it never gets any easier. The cool thing is, though, if you're willing to do the work, in the end you might just wind up being more well-adjusted, happy and peaceful than any of your friends who never had an addiction problem to begin with. The silver linings are everywhere if you're willing to look. You're allowed to cry about it too, though, just by the way, and I have been every day lately. It's a balance. I've had some people tell me, I quit the substance, but I don't feel good. I feel like life isn't as fun anymore and there's just something missing. I'm sober, but I'm unhappy. This, my friend, is exactly what I'm talking about. I firmly believe that if you're sober and unhappy, you have inner work that needs to be done. There's something that needs to be healed in order for you to have that degree of peace. There's no way around that. I've hesitated to say it because it feels obvious to me, but it is only that way because I've done lots of counseling. I've journaled to the point that I have zero storage in my phone anymore because there's 2,000 audio recordings, each almost an hour long. Some of me just absolutely bawling my eyes out and demanding why the world is so unfair. And that's healing too, letting out the emotions you've held in for decades, screaming to the sky if you have to. I actually said to my partner the other day, when we have our place in the forest, if you ever just hear me full out yelling at a tree, don't worry about it. Of course, this man just goes, okay. First of all, he's the greatest. Second, we've forgotten as adults how to release the feelings we used to release during temper tantrums as little children. Think back to the last time you cried. Like really wept, ugly, snotty, racking sobs that threatened to rip your whole heart from your chest. Probably not recently. Also, if you can think back and remember how you felt after you calmed down from that cry, just try for a second to remember the relief. I bet it felt good. I bet it felt so relieving. That's how it's supposed to feel. Emotional release is therapy in itself, and it is shadow work, and it will help you remain well-adjusted, resilient, and level in all areas of your life, come hell or high water. Meditation, breath work, any type of movement, all of these things are so healing. The only way to fully assimilate to a new life, to remind yourself who you were before addiction, to feel deep contentment within, is work, work, work. And a little play too, for good measure. I hope everyone had a nice week, and I'll see you next Sunday. Just a quick little aside for anybody who's curious about what I'm working on in the video. This is called a prayer mala. I'm actually doing it for a customer at my mom's business, but this one is made out of semi-precious stones. It's made out of Shungite and Clear Quartz, and I'm knotting it on silk. So for prayer malas and often for really nice pearl necklaces, people like to have them knotted to create a separation between the beads. Prayer malas specifically have 108 beads, and when you meditate, you would count the beads all the way along as you go. So I love making these, and if anybody is ever curious about the cost of one, or if you'd like to have one made, feel free to send me a DM anytime. See ya!